So a few weeks back, we came together and had a consensus bipartisan vote to stand up for our veterans. A number of Republican and Democratic legislators here, the House and the Senate, worked together to develop something called the Pact Act. This is groundbreaking legislation, decades in the making, that provides veterans access to health care for exposure to toxic chemicals. Exposure that comes through being subjected to military burn pits. These are pits where a lot of toxic chemicals and plastics are burned at military installations, but also for exposure to chemicals like Agent Orange. So we had an 84-14 vote here just a few weeks ago in favor of the Pact Act. And then the bill came back to the Senate due to some technical corrections having nothing to do with the substance of the bill. And yesterday, the vote went from 84 to 55. 30 senators reversed their vote and the bill failed. All 30 of those were Republicans. What happened in 2 weeks that convinced 30 Republicans who previously thought it was a good idea to help veterans to decide instead to tank a bill that was helping veterans? There's really only two explanations. The more charitable explanation is that 30 Republicans just changed their mind. That 3 weeks ago they thought it was a good bill, helping veterans was a good idea, and 3 weeks later they decided that it wasn't a good idea, that they would rather spend that money on somebody else instead of our most vulnerable veterans. The less charitable explanation is this. Republicans are mad that Democrats are on the verge of passing climate change legislation and have decided to take out their anger on vulnerable veterans. That's the other thing that's changed in the last 3 weeks. Republicans thought that Democrats weren't going to be able to pass a bill asking corporations to pay a little bit more, tackling climate change. Yesterday, news emerged that there is an agreement that makes it likely that a climate change bill is going to proceed on the Senate floor, and magically 30 votes flip.
So ain't this a bitch?
Yeah.
Ain't this a bitch? America's heroes who fought in our wars, outside sweating their asses off, with oxygen, battling all kinds of ailments, while these motherfuckers sit in the air conditioning, walled off from any of it. They don't have to hear it. They don't have to see it. They don't have to understand that these are human beings.
This is long overdue legislation. Because quite honestly, it's burn pits today. Yesterday it was Agent Orange. We haven't dealt with that in a way that has made sense for fighting men and women for this country.
I have a very simple proposed fix for this problem that will not reduce veteran benefits by a single dollar.
Senate's where accountability goes to die. These people don't care. They're never losing their jobs. They're never losing their health care. Pat Toomey didn't lose his job. He's walking away. God knows what kind of pot of gold he's stepping into to lobby this government to shit on more people. Do you get it yet? These are men and women, mothers and fathers, sisters and brothers that we just let stand outside in the heat when they can't breathe.
Please join me in a simple fix for a terrible budget gimmick, and let's do this quickly.
Senator Pat Toomey won't take a meeting with the veterans groups.
Inflation is at a 40-year high.
I don't give a shit. They lived up to their oath. And yesterday, they spit on it in abject cruelty. These people thought they could finally breathe. You think their struggles end because the Pact Act passes? All it means is they don't have to decide between their cancer drugs and their house. Their struggle continues.
This bill does a lot more than just give us health care.
Gives them health care, gives them benefits, lets them live.
Keeps veterans from going homeless, keeps veterans from becoming addicts, keeps veterans from committing suicide.
Senator Toomey's not going to hear that because he won't sit down with this man. Because he is a fucking coward. Patriot Pat Toomey stood on the floor and said, this is a slush fund. They're going to use $400 billion to spend on whatever they want.
It's about a budget gimmick that's designed to allow hundreds of billions of dollars in additional, unrelated spending, having nothing to do with veterans. Could be anything.
That's nonsense. I call bullshit. This isn't a slush fund.
I rise because I want to express concerns that I have about a particular provision in the Pact Act. And it is my understanding the Senate is considering this later this week. We could be voting on cloture as early as tomorrow afternoon. My concerns with the provision of the bill as drafted are, well, I and many of my colleagues share this concern. What we want to do is to ensure that the Pact Act is not used as a vehicle to dramatically increase spending.
It's a bill that comes with a cost, because fighting wars comes with a cost, not only while they're in theater, but when they get back home, the men and women who have served that have injuries due to their service to this country. The cost of this bill is about $278 billion over 10 years. But this is also about doing right by the people who serve this country. We have an all-volunteer military in this country, and if we're going to send a message to the next generation of soldiers that we have out there, this bill has to pass the United States Senate.
What the fuck are we? And now they're going to go away. Pat Toomey says, I've got veterans groups behind me. I call bullshit. These are the veterans groups. VFW, American Legion, IAVA, Wounded Warriors, DAV, AMVETS. They're all here. This is the veterans community, Senator. They don't stand behind you. In fact, you won't let them stand in front of you. Cowards, all of them. Cowards, all of them.
And what will happen if we deny cloture? What if we succeed and the chamber, the body, is unable to achieve cloture? Well, then I think I know what would happen. Our Democratic colleagues would work with us to fix the gimmick. That's what would happen. And then the bill would move forward with all the same benefits for veterans that it's always had as a bill.
And now they say, well, this will get done maybe on the, after we get back from our summer recess, maybe during the lame duck, because they're on Senate time. Do you understand? You live around here. Senate time is ridiculous. These motherfuckers live to 200. They're tortoises. They live forever, and they never lose their jobs, and they never lose their benefits, and they never lose all those things. Well, they're not on Senate time. They're on human time, cancer time. Don't you have families? Don't you have people who are deciding how to live their last moments? I know some of them. They've been down here advocating with us. They spent their remaining time advocating so that other soldiers didn't have to face the indignities and the depravity and the desperation that they faced. And none of them will hear it. And none of them care. Except to tweet. Boy, they'll tweet it. Can't wait to see what they come up with on Veterans Day, on Memorial Day. Well, this is the reality of it. I honestly don't even know what to say anymore, but we need your help because we're not leaving. These people cannot go away. I don't know if you know this. You know, obviously I'm not a military expert. I didn't start in the military, but from what I understand, you're not allowed to just leave your post when the mission isn't completed. Apparently you take an oath. You swear an oath, and you can't leave. But these folks can leave because they're on Senate time. Go ahead, Go home, spend time with your families, because these people can't do it anymore. So they can't leave until this gets done. Because these people will not give up, they will not give in, and they will not relent. This is an embarrassment to the Senate, to the country, to the founders, and all that they profess to hold dear. And if this is America first, then America is fucked. You know what? I said a curse word and I'm sorry about that. That was my fault.